Hello, happy Wednesday. I hope wherever you are that you and your loved ones are safe and well, that you're having a good week and a good day. I'm going to get right into the weird experience I had this week so far. So my husband and I took a walk this weekend, as we do, and I think you know where I'm going with this. My sacroiliac joint has decided to be the biggest jerk in the history of ever. I started feeling that spasm sensation in the joint as we were walking. And so I was kind of like, it's happening. But then, just when you think you have it right, you actually have it wrong. I felt like, I hate keep calling it an explosion, but that's what it felt like a sensation. And then it felt like my sacroiliac joint, which is the back of your hip joint, felt like it was being filled with hot liquid. Yuck and yuck. I could feel... I could feel it moving, like the sloshing around of the liquid. Yuck, I'm really sorry. That's disgusting. But I felt it, and I said to my husband, it feels like that joint is being, like, having hot liquid poured into it. And so he was like, what? And so it was really kind of a freak out, obviously. And that it felt like it lasted longer than it did, but I think the whole incident was less than 5 minutes. It's a freaking out kind of 5 minutes. But it was a 5 minute or less. But then, like, it felt like it got turned way up. So it was like, and then it got turned down to a simmer. And then it just went away. What do you do with that? Hi, doctor. I feel like I had boiling hot liquid poured into my sacroiliac joint. And then it got turned up. And then it got turned down. And then it went away. How was your weekend? I didn't know what to do with that. And so my husband is like, you need to write that down and tell him. And so I'm like, I definitely will. I totally forgot. Okay. And thank goodness my husband has the memory that he has, because he's like, did you write that down? I'm like, I did not. I did, finally. I stopped everything and did that the other night. And I got a call at like 5 minutes to 5 on Friday, which I had my hands full. I couldn't hear the phone. To make my appointment for the injection. So I was like, why did you call me at the end of the day? Because I can't call you back because it's like the office is closed. So what am I telling you? Oh, I called the office on Monday. I was like, where am I going with this? And it's a service. It's not the office. It's all convoluted and mixed up now. You don't call the office. You can't make an appointment when you're in the office. You have to call the office. But you're not actually calling the office. You're calling a service. And they have a copy of the schedule. And so when you call with some kind of an emergency, you're calling this service, who then calls somebody, I don't know who, and then the office gets back to you. I've never seen such, like, it's like telephone tag. It's ridiculous. But whatever, it works, I guess. So I called and I made the appointment for the end of February. And there was no point in me telling them then, because that's not the service that gets they could, but it was so much to explain. It's hard to explain like a medical situation to a non-medical person and then let them know that it's not an emergency, because then sometimes they still interpret it as an emergency, and then you get a rushed call from a resident and you're like, I told them it wasn't an emergency. But they can't interpret that, So anyway, so I'm going to message him directly through the app, which is why am I telling this story? I'm going to message him and tell him before the procedure, which hopefully will happen. I don't know. My insurance may say, you know what? Zippity, zip, zap, zip to her and her need for injections. We're not doing it anymore. I don't know. Or maybe they're going to be like, you know what? Let's give this a shot. The good thing is, if we get to do it, I don't know why this is a good thing. Well, no, it is a good thing, because I like seeing the images as they do it. I like the visual. I need the visual, because that helps me learn what's happening and what I have to do. And, if you're digging around in there, I want to see what you're looking at. So they get images. It's like in real time as they're doing these injections, which I think I told you guys that about that. I can't talk today. I'm like mixing everything up. So they have, I think it's a fluoroscopy. So they're looking at the imaging as they're doing it, because they need that to be able to guide the probe into the joint to be able to do the injection. And so that's how he was able to show me how close the bones are in the joint and how much inflammation there is. So I have a feeling that was blood flow. I don't know if something burst or, yuck. Anyway, doesn't matter. I don't feel it now. So the weirdness was short-lived and scared the heck out of me, and that was that. That was that. What else happened? I have not gone back into Pandora's box too deeply because I haven't. I just haven't. I've been doing other things. But I will say this. I feel like I released something last week when I was talking about it and how upset it made me to dig back into my past and not remember anything about that person and what they went through and what they were doing and what their dreams were and everything else. I haven't thought about her in a very long time because I don't remember to think about her, truthfully, until I'm faced with something. But I think it was kind of therapeutic for me to feel what I was feeling and get upset and, cry about it and be angry about it. Because I feel like we all need to do that, whether it's a health issue, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's your kids, whatever. We all have to grieve those moments and let them go, because if we don't, all of that kind of builds up and it like adds rocks to our backpack, and eventually we're so weighed down we can't move forward. And so I feel like it's extremely important to feel what you're feeling and to acknowledge that. Even if you only acknowledge it to yourself, you have to acknowledge how you feel, whether things make you upset or they make you angry, or you can't ignore that emotion, because that emotion is going to come and kick you in the ass one day and it's going to bleed all over everything. And believe me, I know that for a fact. But I feel like by acknowledging that made me really upset, and feeling what I felt and saying it out loud, or even if I had said it, this is upsetting to me, I feel like it did me good. And I feel like we all need to do that. I feel like when you go through, like I can only speak to my own experience. Every time I thought I was kind of leveling out, and then something else would happen, I had to re-grieve all over again, because now there was something else to grieve about the person I thought I was going to be, the job I thought I was going to have, my professional life, our plans. Like I had to reopen that scar every time. And in the early years, it was like, and one after another and after another and after another. And so it was like that wound never closed. And then finally I got to a place where and I do credit the pump with that, where my pain was much better controlled. Does that sound right? Was under better? I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And I could breathe, you know what I mean? And I feel like my medical life has just been a bizarre roller coaster ride, but therapy helped. Talking to you helps. Writing about it helps. Even if you never share that with another person, please acknowledge how you're feeling, because I feel like you can become very bitter, very angry, and get stuck in a place when you don't say, like, this is upsetting to me. And if you don't have someone to bounce that off of, I mean, the groups, I'm not going to say it's the greatest thing ever, but I have great groups, my RSD groups, my CRPS RSD groups, my stroke groups. They're great people, and it helps. We can all vent to each other, but I think everybody needs a way to vent and say, I'm having a bad day. I found, these snapshots of my old life, the career I thought I was going to have, and I don't remember who she is, and I don't remember her. And, it is traumatic. It's hard. And we have to be able to meet ourselves where we are in those moments. And, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like I released something that day. And by talking about it, I feel like I released something. And I'm not saying it's not going to upset me, because I'm sure it will, but I don't know. I feel like it did me some good to see that version of myself. And I mean, I haven't gone back in, so it may upset me all over again, but to see that version of myself and meet myself where I was and say, that really upset me, because it's it's not even that I would want to do that now, because I think I would want to do different things in medical stuff and healthcare. But to get a little glimpse of who I was and what I wanted at that moment was hard, because oh man, I was a different person. We all are. We're different people from yesterday. You know, let alone 20 something years ago or 20 years ago, because it's like we can't be the same people. Everything changes, the world changes, life changes. We can't be the same person we were an hour ago. So, you know, when you throw in a medical life, there's no way to be the same person. And I feel like grieving that, or at least acknowledging your feelings, is as important as taking your medicine, because I feel like it helps you to, it's like a reality check on where you are. And I think when you acknowledge your feelings and you're not trying to deny and just get along and go along, you can release some of the rocks from your backpack, and then you can better handle the bad news or rough news or no news. You know what I mean? It does help. So I would highly recommend that. I'm not an expert. I'm only an expert on myself. And I know that it helped me to release that, to acknowledge how I felt last week, and to let that go. My joyful things. One of them for sure. And you're going to think you already think I'm a weirdo, probably, some of you. Anyway, who isn't weird? We're all weird, right? I hate high heels. Hate them. I have never liked to wear them, even before I started having all my medical stuff. Never liked them. People enjoy them. Good for you. Enjoy. I do love a boot, though. I love a boot with I love a platform boot. I mean, boots are probably one of my weaknesses. But anyway, I had gotten these great Old Navy Chelsea boots on sale last spring, right? 20, I don't know. It was like at least a year ago, maybe almost a year ago. And I wore them nonstop. I loved them. Loved those boots. They have started to become uncomfortable. They don't have a heel. They have the whole sole is like a little bit of a platform. They're really great. Well, they're not really comfortable anymore. And so I switched to a flatter boot, which has been amazing. But I got them with a gift card and on sale. I love a bargain. These boots have such a satisfying clack. It is not even funny. I can't even explain it. They are so great. And I don't know why that, the sound just makes me so happy, but for some reason, it just the click, 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 click. I love it. I love it. And so I may share a clip of the click clack later, tomorrow. What day is this? Wednesday, Friday, with my joyful things. But so my boots, my flat boots with this very satisfying click clack, definitely in my joyful things. I had other joyful things. Oh, for crying out loud. I should have written them down. I'll think of them for Friday, but that's definitely one of them. I was walking along, and I've been wearing them every day to break them in, and they really didn't need breaking in. They're great boots. And just the click, 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 click. Very satisfying. Very satisfying. Why am I so clappy and singy today? I don't understand. Well, I guess I always am, but I'm just sitting here clapping and singing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I lost my train of thought. But think of your joyful things. They can be the smallest thing, biggest thing. It doesn't matter. You know, seeing a plant, seeing kids laughing, something. Think of joyful things. The biggest thing, the smallest thing, they release your heart a little bit and make you feel good. They release endorphins. Forget it. I'm a mess. I'm going to leave it there. I hope wherever you are, that you and your loved ones I'm giving you my intro again. Oh my word. That you are oh my gosh, what is my outro? I know. I hope that you and your loved ones have a low pain, no pain, low aggravation, no aggravation kind of a day, kind of a week, and kind of a weekend to come, because that's what we hope for, that's what we deserve, and that is what I wish for every one of you. Oh my word. I will see you on Friday via the blog, next week for everything. Hopefully I have my memory back about my own intro and outro, and that's the end of that tune. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.